Without further ado, I'd like to invite Katie to share her screen and start her presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Appreciate you coming to our discussion panel. And actually, Katie is representing AIA Detroit, and we are partnering with PMI GLC and AIA Detroit to bring you this program. So a little bit of introduction of what AIA Detroit does with the IPD.
Thank you. As Terry said, I'm Katie Johnson. I'm a board member of AIA Detroit, have been for the past 3 years. And so I'm speaking on behalf of AIA in terms of IPD trends, as well as best practices. I am also a principal at AECOM, where I have experience in many types of project delivery models. And I'm also a strategy plus practice leader, which is a strategic consultancy within AECOM, where we actually advise clients on delivery models in addition to strategic and physical planning. I'm representing the American Institute of Architects today because of the fact that AIA has really been a source of thought leadership around integrated projects delivery since at least the mid-2000s. I strongly encourage everyone to consider the AIA as a resource, particularly if you are new to integrated projects delivery. The AIA does have standard contract documents for integrated project delivery, which are, you can go and look at samples, whether you use it as your standard contract or not. It really is a good resource and guide to help you understand things that you may want to consider and think about as you are planning undertaking an integrated project delivery effort. The AIA does also convene a variety of think tanks and white papers. I myself participated in one a couple of years ago nationally, around the future of the practice of architecture. There is a great online resource that was produced between AIA National and AIA California, this integrated project delivery guide. These resources are, at this point, probably 10 plus years old, but the reality is that integrated project delivery is sort of something that I think companies have been experimenting with, and in many ways, is still relatively new, and something that we're seeing an increasing number of institutional clients in particular, as well as private firms participate in. So kind of the gold standard, though not the only standard, we've got some other representatives on the call today as well, are these AIA resources, and I encourage you to take a look at them. I'm not going to get into details of contracts. We have actually legal representation on the call that can get into that if desired. But what I do want to mention is that, integrated project delivery is really about increased alignment between the architect, the owner, and the contractor. And in developing contract standards for integrated project delivery, the AIA actually looked at a number of different models for that. So what you see on the screen here is a model where the architect and contractor separately contract with the owner, but have a shared set of general conditions. The AIA also looked at a scenario where there's basically, a joint single entity that the architect, construction manager, and owner all entered into. And then perhaps the most well-known is actually the multi-party agreement, where there's a single agreement that all parties sign and commit to in terms of the terms and conditions that they will abide by for the project. As we're talking through this today, I think it's worth thinking about in terms of the projects that you have worked on, whether they're true contractual integrated project delivery or not. How have you worked to achieve that alignment between architect, owner, and contractor in terms of a culture of collaboration, shared risk, shared reward? Because that is really what the spirit of integrated project delivery is all about. You've probably all also seen this diagram, which is the curve of, cost and design changes, rather, increased ability to impact cost and function early in the project, later in the phases of the project, high cost of design changes, much like the promise of BIM. And this is why integrated project delivery is frequently spoken about hand in hand with lean and BIM. IPD is really about getting that early alignment between all of the parties. So in order to have, more cost effective and time efficient and overall better outcomes for the project at the end of the day. So as a case study, I do want to share a project that AECOM worked on. It is the Kaiser Permanente new building in West Oahu. We've worked on quite a few projects that have alternative delivery models. This one I'm sharing because it is a true integrated project delivery contractual agreement, but it stemmed out of a client that is a large client with a capital plan that extends to multiple Western states in the U.S. Kaiser Permanente being a hospital system in California and Hawaii. And the team that works together on this had worked together in delivering a program of smaller renovations as part of implementing a capital improvement program, and basically participated in the program alignment activities that helped support ultimately delivering this project as a truly integrated project delivery effort. And overall, I think all parties felt that it was widely successful. So just to wrap up, before we get into some additional details and perspectives, in terms of the trends and future of IPD, if you think of traditional design bid build as one of the end of the spectrum, that's where we've been historically, and integrated project delivery at another end of the spectrum. I think we're really moving in the direction that all projects are inching closer and closer to integrated project delivery, even those that are not at the moment, formally contractually a shared multi-party agreement. There is an increased expectation for collaboration between parties across the board on design and construction projects. And that's been evolving hand in hand with not only in-person, workshopping, but also virtual collaboration tools. We've all gotten an experiment and an acceleration with that, I think, in the past year as well. So something to think about. Lastly, it also trends, parallels, and leans, BIM, agile, all as Harry mentioned, but also things like public-private partnerships, which are a different type of partnership, but increasingly common in terms of ways that projects get structured and delivered, and hand in hand with program management and stakeholder management. So, institutional clients like higher education, government, and healthcare in particular, I think are looking across their entire portfolios, how they deliver projects, what their standards are, what team members they're working with repeatedly, and looking at integrated project delivery as a way to improve outcomes across the board. Now, additionally, stakeholder management, which is one of the PMP areas of focus, we're seeing increased means and methods for active stakeholder participation. I actually, as an architect, am now a certified change manager, which I never would have expected 10 years ago. So the idea of engaging in activities to create better alignment, better communication, and better creative problem solving are trends that we are seeing across the board and expect to continue. And then lastly, even though this, is a trend, it's a longer term trend. So IDP will continue to feel like it's a new thing, even as it's been around for a while and becomes increasingly used in the industry. The building industry is big, and it takes a while to really see big movements. So I anticipate that we'll continue to feel like it's an alternate delivery model, or not used, certainly not used across all projects, but at one end of the spectrum that the needle is moving towards. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Katie. Thanks for that presentation. Next, we're going to go to Dave Kelly from Turner. He's going to give us the general contractor perspective on IPD. And